your business to help a few people?
Sure.
How many of you, given the choice, would like your business to help many, many people? That's why we're here. Would you like your life to be a whisper? Or would you like your life to be a shout? Shout. This is your choice. And this is one of the reasons you're here today. I'd like to tell you about a set of twins. Their names are Phil and Jill. And Phil and Jill were born at the same time. And from the time they were very young, Phil loved to doodle on papers. He would doodle with his crayons and later with pencils. But Jill, she liked to go sit at the piano. And every day she would be think, 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 think. And she kept getting better and better. Same thing with Phil. He would write, and he kept getting better and better. When they were in school, Phil got really good grades. He was able to read and write, and he loved that world. He was in his element. But Jill, she was bored in school. She was thinking about tunes and humming off into the wind. That's all she could think about. She couldn't wait to get out of school and get home so that she could go practice the piano. Phil and Jill had two very different talent sets. Each of you here in this room has a passion. There's something in you that you can do for hours and hours and hours, and only you know what that is. It's that flow you have. It's that thing you can do where you forget what time it is. You forget if you've even eaten. You forget what's going on because you're doing what you love to do. And that is ideally how you should be spending your time each day, is it not? Mm-hmm. How many of you in this room, by a show of hands, absolutely have a passion for writing? Okay, for those of you who don't like to write, please keep your hands up. For those of you who don't like to write, look at these people. You need to know these people because they love to write. Next, keep your hands up, right? People who love to write. Who doesn't mind writing? Like, okay, I don't mind. I could do it if I had to, especially if I got a little bit of money for it. Look around, okay? You need to know who these people are. Next, we probably have some technical people in the room. How many people in here know that you can set up a blog in less than an hour? Who knows that? How many of you could do it if you had to? Look around, you might need their help. Because guess what? It is not a big deal to blog. Now let's say that you are somebody who hates to write. You have no intention whatsoever to write. Okay, we have some people who want to admit it. But you already know in the room who you can partner with, right? Because guess what? There are hundreds, no, thousands of writers within, I don't know how many miles of right where we're sitting right now. Writers who are looking for stories. Okay? The people who are in the newspapers these days, newspapers, magazines, every single day, they wake up and guess what their job is? They are looking for stories. If you would take a little bit of time to call them, find them, Google them, they might be happy to share a story that you have to tell that can help to promote whatever you do, whatever your passion is. So, there's no excuse for not blogging. You can all find the way. Because guess what? If you want your life to be a shout and not a whisper, we all have to figure out how to get our words out, right? We all know as well that we're here today at Successful Thinkers. We know that one of the best ways to get the word out about what we do is word of mouth, right? That's why we're all in this room. However, when we have to get our message out, one by one, each one-on-one meeting that we take, this is fantastic. We grow great friendships, it's powerful, it's fulfilling, and you know that these people can be really terrific leads for you. But let's face it, we only have so much time in each day to do so many one-on-ones, right? Now, What would happen if I told you that there was a little secret to making your life be more of a shout? Would that be interesting? You know, we are living in an age right now where nobody can stop us from saying what we want to say. Now, there may be limitations to that, but in general, some of you in this room are of a generation when you knew how much work it took to go through a publishing house, to get through the newspaper, to how difficult it was to get the message out. And you know what you can do today? You can go do a blog post this afternoon. You can do 5 blog posts this afternoon. You can upload a book onto Kindle this afternoon. You can be a published author this afternoon, assuming you've done some of the writing. There are no limitations, okay? No limitations. We become our own limitation. Every year, Phil would say to Jill, Jill became a better and better piano player. She got married, she had a few children, and she would play the piano. She lived out in the country. She would play the piano for her children, and even her dogs and cats loved to come and listen to her play her music. They would sit around the piano, and Jill married a pastor, and she even would play in the church sometimes, but those were pretty much church tunes. They weren't these beautiful, magnificent songs that she was composing, her own original world-class music. She was destined to be famous, to be a world-class musician. But the only people that ever heard her beautiful pieces were her pets, her children, her husband, and later her grandchildren. Instead of her life becoming that shout, it was only a whisper. And each of you in this room have this choice to make your life this shout or this whisper. I'm going to tell you some of the advantages to blogging. Because, like I said, newspapers and magazines, these are still very viable sources these days. If you can get radio broadcasts, if you can get some shots like this is all helpful. But if you even like writing a little bit and you have a website, let me ask this question. How many of you have a website already? Almost everybody. How many of you have what I would call a brochure website? Which means you've put some information up there and you haven't changed it and you hardly ever change it. Maybe you tweak a few things and you update your about page. But basically it's a brochure website. So we've got some people in here who are doing some updating and have new information. I'm glad to see that. So you already understand this value, right? So what are some of the advantages of blogging versus these other articles? Number one of the number one ways to increase traffic to your website is by content marketing. And what this means is that you tell stories about how your products or services help your customers. It means that you post information and updates, news articles that are relevant to that crowd. So you're providing new content so that when people are actually searching for what you have to offer, they find you and not your competitor. So that's the ideal, is when you have this information on your own website. Another advantage to blogging is that if you change your mind, or if the tax law changes, or if something in your industry changes, or let's say somebody had a great reputation and now their reputation fell apart, guess what you can do? You can just go right into your blog post, update it, fix it, make the corrections, and hit post again. It's at your fingertips because you own that blog. The next thing that blogging can do for you is it can help to expand your network. So you don't always just blog about yourself. Sometimes you get some friends or some people who have complementary businesses. Here in Successful Thinkers, I think we call this our power partners, right? So we can do favors, do blog post trades, do guest blog posts, and help each other. You can even ask that other person to write part of it and then give them credit for writing it. So definitely very powerful. How many of you would like to wake up in the morning, still in your pajamas, or not if you don't sleep now,
And you're sitting at home in the morning having your coffee, and you're checking your email and maybe your voice messages. Wouldn't it be really nice if you had some emails, some people who filled out your contact sheet on your website, or some voicemails, and they are calling you for your service? Wouldn't that be nice if that happened every day? I can personally say that I have studied blogging and I have learned to do it, and that now the contacts I get are people who actually want my service. Because if you have a website, you know that there are only two kinds of people who contact you, right? The number one kind of person who contacts you is typically somebody who wants to sell you something, right? And they want to know, hey, wouldn't you like to get more hits on your website? Wouldn't you like to get some more Twitter followers? These are not the people we want to be contacting us. If we wanted them, we would go through word of mouth and we would find an honest person that we trusted. But anyway, we get more of those kind of people than the people we really want. What content marketing does, what blogging does, is it helps people to understand that you are already relevant, you are already up on your website, you already know what it takes to attract those customers. And they're going to bug you less, believe me. And that contact form that you're getting in is going to be much more relevant for you. The other thing that blogging does is it helps to build trust. When people can see true stories, other faces, pictures of people in the community that you've helped, maybe they know them, or maybe that they know somebody else. But it creates that trust with real faces. Think about the websites you look at. Do you trust the website that have the corny avatars? Or do you trust the website that has people's faces? They're willing and they're trustworthy enough to put their face on their website. I know I don't trust any website when there's no human faces there. I don't want to do business with somebody where there are no people, where I pick up the phone and it's a machine. How about you? We're all local businesses. We understand the value of that smile, right? Another thing that blogging does for you is it provides compound interest. Some of you might be in banking, right? And you understand the value of compound interest. So this means that even if you decide that you only want to write one article a month, one blog post a month, guess what happens? In 1 year, you have 12 posts. In 2 years, you have 24 posts. But just like money with compound interest, if you start with one blog post, that's going to drive some certain traffic because there are certain words in that. The next blog post is going to drive some more traffic, and it's going to notice what you did in the first one. The third month, it's going to notice all this other stuff you did in the other months. And what happens if you start posting every week? Can you see the compound interest in what will happen to your hits on your website? Take the test. It works. It really does. The more you blog, the more your curve will go up, and the quicker it will go up. Phil died at the age of 75. He spent his entire life writing books and articles and newspaper articles and blog posts. And guess what? Bill's voice was heard in every single country in the world, because that's how the web works these days. Even if your articles are only written in one language, you can get hits from just about every country. Test your Google Analytics to see where your hits are coming from. Jill lived 25 more years than Phil. At 100, she was still playing the piano. But guess what? Her life was only a whisper. Hardly anybody ever got to hear her story. Each year, each holiday, when Phil asked her, hey, can we do a post? She would say, oh, no, it's springtime, I'm busy with my garden. A little bit later, every year, Phil would ask her, hey, how about if I do a post about you? We can do a YouTube of you playing piano and we can put it out there. Oh no, I'm so busy with the children this summer because they're out of school. In the fall, when he would see her during the holidays, he would say, how about now? She would say, oh no, I'm much too busy with the holidays. Every year he would ask again in the winter, how about now? Oh no. Watch. Year after year after year, opportunity after opportunity for getting her voice out, her beautiful world-class music. And her voice, her talent, was only a whisper. I urge each of you today to think about blogging, to shout your message out, and to find a way. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer those now. And thank you. Let your life be a shout, not a whisper. Who's with me? Let your life be a shout. Okay. Any questions about blogging?
Is there like a magic number, like how often you should blog?
How often should you blog?
I mean, I understand the compound interest thing, but just wondering if there's kind of...
The answer to that question is, how loud would you like your voice to be heard? You know, if you blog a little bit, you get a little bit of results. If you make a lot of phone calls, you get, more results. So that answer, the way that you test that is you blog a little bit, and then you see, how's your traffic? How's your income? How's it working? That plan you check out. So start with once a month. If you can handle once a week, start with that. And if you're noticing great results, you can network with other people and potentially even increase it. And I have one more little secret I'll tell about that too.
How do you start a blog?
Who in the room said they knew how to start a blog? Raise your hands. Okay? After the meeting, those are the people you can ask. It's super simple. I recommend WordPress. You can also do it with Google Blogger. But WordPress is the #1 site that's being used right now, and it's awesome. Yes?
How do you get followers or whatever you call them? Who do you send the blog to? Does it just go out and propagate itself, or where do these people come from?
I love that question. And I'll tell you what. I have a mentor who helps me with my blogging. And he told me, and I didn't believe him, he said, stop doing Twitter, stop doing Facebook, stop doing all this wasted time social media. It is not worth your time. I didn't believe him. I continued to waste my time on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all these sorts of things, right? And one day I decided that I was going to stop doing all of those things for 1 week and see what happened to my traffic. And guess what? It hardly budged a bit. Every now and then you get lucky and somebody will retweet you, somebody who has 100,000 followers, and it will go out there. So I'm not saying that it's totally not worth your time, but the majority of your time, the answer to that is when you provide, have you heard the movie, If You Build the Field, They Will Come? So think about this. People every day, right now, as we are sitting here, are Googling because they have problems. They're having financial problems. They need insurance. Their leg is hurting. They're looking for a doctor. They're searching for help and information. And they want to find you. So these people become pre-qualified when they find your articles. More than 80% of the people who come to my site are called organic followers. That means they are searching for the information that I'm providing on my blog. And that's how they find me. And those are the best people because they are already pre-qualifying themselves for what you have to offer. 1 minute left.
What's your opinion on posting your own personal content as opposed to like sharing links and videos of other people's content that relates to your blog?
Okay. So I've heard that about 80% of the information that's out on the web is nothing more than copy, paste, share, Wikipedia. This is resaid, this is pushed, this is retweeted, and this is shared over here, and 50,000 people shared this picture on Facebook, okay? Now, your goal is to provide interesting and unique stuff that people will share 50,000 times. Because what good does it do you to share somebody else's
information 50,000 times. What you want to do is you want to be the main source. And when you're the main source where all these people who are retweeting and rewriting and resharing these articles, even if you're taking a story that's a current news article, you put your own twist, your own expertise in your own area to that, and then you drive them to you because you've got the great information. That's the goal.
So, if, I save a lot of things that I find interesting for me, and I like to share them with people that I know that I think might find valuable. But if I were to like just kind of rewrite it in my own words, is that kind of what you're saying? Like, is that probably better, or not? I mean, I'm not trying to plagiarize or anything like that, but take some of the ideas for like inspiration to write about it. I mean,
At least add to it. At least add your taste or your today's voting day, for example. So at least add why you believe that this is the best candidate, or why you believe this is the best financial tool, or whatever your expertise is. So at least take something that's general knowledge and add your own knowledge on top of that people want to have. Thank you all.
I was gonna say for what you were saying, you know, like look at Lifehacker, look at any of those other sites like that. They do citing all the time, but like she said, like you offer your unique spin, or you're just copying people, right? You know, so I think there's a place for that. So you at least, like she was saying, it's really important you don't totally sap your opportunity to actually have any value from what you're throwing out there. You know, so it actually comes to you and you catch something.
Thank you, James. I'm going to partner with you.
Great. Thank you very much. That was awesome. And just to tag along with that, we are all networkers, right?